Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. I'm really happy to be with you and spend some time with you. For those that I have not met as yet, my name is Robin Larry. I work on the client experience side and work with our onboarding team that many of you would have or already would have had exposure to. I'm also joined today by my colleague Sumaya. Sumaya Ishmael is we call it our front end owner. She essentially owns our web. So between Sumaya and I, we really close to our innate investment platform around the proposition that we've built. And I'm really excited to take you through this innate investment platform. We believe it's a really powerful tool that will fit nicely into your practice. Whether you're looking to onboard your clients seamlessly or you're looking to operate your business efficiently, I'm hoping that this session gives you a little sense of our innate and how we've built innate. How the masterclass have been built is there's a series of masterclasses, but we're essentially going to go through a step-by-step process, or maybe step-by-step guidance that shows you almost the best practices, some really nice tips that some advisors have already given us. And it's essentially just to get you to get a smooth as possible process as you're onboarding yourself as an advisor, whether you're onboarding your assistant, whether you're using a model portfolio or not, or onboarding your clients. What we aim to do is we're looking to cover in this session how to create and manage different client profiles. We'll chat through submitting new business, but a little bit more on what that looks like relatively shortly. As always, we really would like to hear your feedback. So we also have a Q&A option available for you. I see there's already questions in the Q&A, so please keep on adding those questions into the Q&A. Between Sumaya and I, we will answer some of those questions. Some of them may be answered via text as a response to that question, and some of it we'll also answer live. So we will make a little bit of time at the end of the session to go through the session. Through your questions. Sumaya and I also spend a lot of time speaking to advisors. We speak to our distribution teams. We're there to listen to some of the feedback that you give. So whether it's from yourselves, from your assistants, or if it's from the distribution team, we're here to solve some of the key problems for you and make that experience better. So I'm hoping that you get a sense of this innate proposition. I am going to share my screen. It'll take you through the way we take you through just a little bit around innate, who we are, because I think it's always nice to start right at the beginning. So I'm going to quickly share my screen, and then Sumaya, I've got you. If you could just give me a thumbs up to say you can see the slides. Okay, I see that. Thank you. Okay, so today, as we mentioned a little bit earlier, is we're looking to take you through mastering the client and onboarding your client with innate. As always, all journeys have to start at the beginning. And what we're looking to do is take you through 4 masterclasses, and this will give you a sense of what's coming up in the 4 masterclasses. On the very far left, maybe if I can quickly add the pointer. On the far left, you can see where the laser pointer is. Today's session is around mastering clients. So we'll go through loading a prospect, creating a new client, create new business, and you can see all the topics. In the interest of time, I won't speak too much about this now because we are going to spend a little bit of detail through it. In the next masterclass, we'll go through submitting and tracking your instructions. And that's where we almost move from that end-to-end life cycle of your client. You onboard the client initially, you want to get familiar with the platform. Post getting familiar, you want to be able to track those transactions. You want to submit multiple transactions. Sometimes you get thrown a curveball. You've got something like retirement coming up and you want to know how quickly can the platform assist. We'll then go into assessing and interpreting client reports, and you can see a host of different reports we're going to go through. That's really important information that I think you'll find lots of value in as well. And lastly, we'll go through what we call staying ahead with our personalized tools, and that's through all the advisor reports, etc. So we've got a nice jam-packed session for you to give you a really good context and guidance on where we are heading over the next few masterclasses. Okay, so I'm going to just quickly go ahead, and I think an important piece is let's start at the beginning. So at the beginning, when innate was launched, we were launched in 2017 with one mission and one vision, And essentially, the how we built this innate proposition, we said we didn't want to take a platform or an investment platform and replicate what a competitor does. That's not what we want to do. As I said earlier, we spend a lot of time speaking to you as advisors and to your assistants, and we came up with this tagline of we want to be an advisor inspired proposition. And an advisor inspired proposition essentially means we want to build an investment platform with you in mind. We know that the success of the investment platform is built around your success as well. So we don't take it for granted that we know that we want to have, firstly, best in breed technology. We want things to be as easy as possible for you to use. But also, we are aware that some may not know that right on top, I've mentioned we are also part of the Standard Bank Group. For those that aren't aware, you will start seeing, if you had seen some of the communication from the INN8 team before, you would have seen that there wouldn't have been an integration or logos that reflects, for example, Standard Bank, and you're slowly but surely going to see that. And some of the feedback that we received as well was INN8 is a new investment platform. We know that that assets or accounts are being moved from the standard list over to INN8. We've already gone through two tranches of those that project, which is called Elevate. And some of the feedback has been maybe help us talk to my clients a little bit more around whom this platform is, where you operate, and being part of the Standard Bank group is something that's helping. The next thing is if I take a step back, is our vision, which is to change the way investments are done. That's sometimes a difficult thing because when you change the way investments are done, essentially what we're trying to say is that it comes with a little bit of change management. When we look at the innate investment platform, we are a digital proposition, and that sometimes comes with some challenge that going from a paper-based platform to a completely paperless platform will naturally take a little bit of change, but we are aware. And how we look to change the way investments are done, I'm going to slowly but surely start giving some principles as we move ahead into our in the presentation and the demos, what that looks like. Then, just like there we go. So then, guiding principle, as I said, is advisor at the center of our business. That's what we hold true to ourselves. When we go through building and enhancing functionality or enhancing features, that's something that sticks in our core, which is we want to build this business around what you give us and the feedback that you give us. As I said right in the beginning, please continue to share that feedback. It makes a massive difference for us. And when we use this advising at the center of business, we almost go away from building it the way an innate team would like to build it, or building it away from, let's say, what a distribution team tells us, but we build purely based on purpose. And that purpose built is really, really key to how we build going forward. Lastly, it's second lastly kind of is summarized with these last two slides is our purpose is we want to be a strategic partner for you as a wealth manager of future. And we know that that comes with different there's different aspects linked to that in what does that purpose mean or what does that strategic partner mean? We want to fit into the way you do things. We want to fit into how you operate as a business. We try not to deviate too much because we are lucky that we understand the way you are submitting business either via Liberty or via Standard, and that we take as lessons as we move ahead and we build the innate investment platform. I would like to quickly chat to you around some of the benefits that you are automatically going to see within the innate investment platform, and this will give you a little bit of guidance. And I'll start on the top right. Real-time, detailed insights, just a click away. What we've built at INN8 is something a little bit different. So we tried not to build a platform where you'd need to wait for something to run. So as an example, you're trying to onboard your client and your client says, I've just gone through this process that INN8 asked me to do. You log into INN8 and you don't find that information or it's outdated. Your client says, I already done this earlier this morning. Why are you asking me to do that thing again? That's not what we would like. So when we built something as powerful as our instructions tracker, we built it real time. So if there's an outstanding status that, let's say, you as an advisor need to do, or your client would need to do, it will automatically tell you this is where you need to go. And excuse me, our operations team will equally match to see where you are in that journey and update the transactions or the sub status of the transaction as you move ahead. Then if I just scroll up on the right, you can see transactions fully digital, no need for forms or web client signatures. That's a really powerful tool that we've had, and there's lots of feedback that advisors like that part of a proposition. We're essentially saying, we understand you as an advisor. You have a way that you operate, meaning we know that you all have to meet your own compliance need. We know that you need to operate and go through your regulatory requirements. We want to fit directly into that. We want to make sure that that process is as efficient and as possible. I understand as also saying we're not saying that you don't have your own individual compliant need. And sometimes that compliant need is I need access to a form or a pre-populated document that I need to store internally. Initially, we did not have that as part of our proposition, but on the back of your feedback, those are things that we've also now incorporated. User-friendly, intuitive, and simple with tooltips and support along the journeys. So when we build INN8 and how we built INN8 is we try to make it using modern technology. We try to use it with modern modern web design. And that's all the way down to small things like we don't want you to need to click on things that you don't need to click on. If you are unsure of something and something is maybe a little bit more complex or just something that's worth knowing, we'll add like a little info button on the journey to tell you this is what this specific section means. So I will demonstrate what that looks like as I go through the demo. Transact anywhere, any device, anytime. We call this responsive, as in we build the web to be responsive. It's responsive whether you are using a mobile. It's responsive whether you're using a tablet. We have one advisor that only uses a mobile phone to submit transactions. We have another advisor that only uses an iPad mini to submit all transactions. And that's the way we've built the web. We wanted it to feel as though whether you're sitting behind a desk, like I'm doing today, or you've got a laptop, you are constantly on the road, you have a roaming office. We want the proposition to work, fit into the way you do work on your side. Maybe useful or useless fact, at the moment we have around 20% of our usage on mobile devices. Interestingly, we are also seeing non-mobile devices being used at INN8, and sometimes what those non-mobile devices are is someone logging in via a gaming device or via a different type of screen. We're seeing a lot more of this modern versions of logging onto the INN8 investment platform. No rekeying of information, that's really critical to us as a business. So we're saying you capture your client once, and that's the only time that you capture your client. Make one small example. If you submit a new investment and you submit it for Rob and Larry, you're going to fill in Rob and Larry's details on that application form. When you submit a top up, you're going to fill in Rob and Larry's details. Another different product, new investment, you're going to rekey that information or refill in that information. That will not happen at INN8. You complete that information once, it's stored for you, and you'd always be able to use that information. Less than 5 minutes to submit an instruction. I'm going to steal a little bit of Sumayya's thunder here. She works very closely with our analytics on our and our insights on our web. And we can already see that it takes on average around 4 minutes, 4.5 minutes to submit an instruction. That is for someone that's a little bit more proficient, that's gone through the web before. We can already see that it takes around sort of 8 to 9 minutes to submit that instruction the first time you go on, which is understandable. It's something completely new. I'm not going to debate between Apple versus Android users, but let's say you switched from Apple to Android or Android to Apple. That first time that that mobile goes on, it's a little bit different because the icons look a little bit different. Where you go and search for your settings, the tiles look a bit different. But very quickly in that same day, you get comfortable knowing where you are. And we're finding that exactly the same at INN8. The more comfortable, the shorter time it's going to take to process transactions. I am in our platform every day, I can guarantee you, you can put me to the test. I submit investments under a minute and a half. It's because I know that I know the web really well. It's a really, really a fast process to go through. The next is straight through processing, no time delay. So what we're saying over here is, firstly, when you capture, there's no information that's been stored. It's not being sent to our backend system or our backend team, and there's an administrator or an operations consultant recapturing that information. That does not happen at INN8. It's going to go straight through, and straight through meaning, let's say you are looking to produce a change of annuity income as an example. When you log into the web, you submit that change, it will go through in real time and you can track that in real time as well. It's not going to go to a backend system, someone captures and then they forget, they make there's a typing error, the income was changed to 11,000, not 1,100. That's not going to happen within it. Really powerful digital proposition. As I said in one of the previous slides, market leading research and compliance tools. We've got a really nice integration with Morningstar, which has some tools we will talk through in some of in the last masterclass. But then we also don't want you to log into the web and then have to log out of the web to access a tool like a Reg 28 calculator, where it's typically done in Excel, or calculating capital gain or capital loss. We want those to be in Journey. Powerful client data and transactional engine. What we've done, and a lot of work we do, is trying to make sure we've got best in breed technology. We make sure that we can scale up this platform as aggressively as we can. And the insights that we get is also building back to that, saying, can we scale up as frequently and as much as we are doing at the moment? Built-in validation, business rules, product license, and restrictions. This is really, really key. And we're seeing a lot of benefit from advisors when I sit in the offices. What we've done is our industry is very well regulated. It's also really complex. So there are things like you're not being able to charge an initial fee for some transactions. You are capped at charging an initial fee for other transactions, like a Section 50 transfer. Some of them allows you to do different, like cap limits, 36,000 Rand for tax-free savings. If that limit changes, you got to keep on remembering the new limits. Because we're digital, we've taken all the complexity, we've built it into the web to make those journeys feel as effective and for you. Second last, design based on how we can solve pain points. This is really key to us. Where you have a pain point, please let us know. It's not a proposition where we're saying we just want to get the information via email. We already, between Samir and I, we also sit in groups or in forums where we're talking about the next few enhancements, and almost all of them are some of them from advisors saying, I need a tweak to this process, or I need a tweak to a document. So please, that's core. If we truly are an advisor inspired proposition, we want to and we have to listen to you. Lastly, continuously evolving with functionality that platform needs. We call ourselves we like to see ourselves as a dynamic investment platform, and that dynamic platform means you're going to see constant enhancements in our world. We interestingly have a team that only looks at enhancements. We call them small enhancements that we can try and get them in every month. So every month you're going to see a little bit of tweaks and a little bit of enhancements. That's not saying you're not going to see some of the big things. As an example, last year we built the option of having multiple models, or what we call blending. One model and one fund or multiple funds. Those are also being released as we build this proposition. So please keep a lookout. If you aren't on our mailing lists, let us know, because that's where you're going to see lots of information coming across for the functionality that we are building internally. Okay, I quickly want to chat through just very high level an end-to-end view of INN8 and how we operate as a business. So the first one to chat through is on the top left. So understanding needs and disclosure. We understand that as part of financial advice, you have, I'm going to call it, for lack of a better term, off-platform and off-platform need. We know that you need to go through a disclosure with your client. Let's say on the top left, you've met your client for the first time, and we've made an example of Lily. You've met Lily for the first time. you'd have to go through disclosures, you'd have to go through getting to know your client, you'd have to go through quite a few kind of phase requirements as part of that process. Then you go into things like, okay, I now understand Lily as a client. I need to go through analyzing what Lily has said. I also need to do a recommendation. And that recommendation could be things like I'm going to conduct financial needs analysis. I need to produce a quote. And I understand in some of your worlds that quote needs to be signed as well. Um, your client needs to agree to the quote. You then produce a record of advice. I know it may not work in the perfect chronological order, but kind of showing you that there is off-platform stuff that we are aware that you'd need to go through. Then you're gonna once that instruction is approved, as in you've spoken to your client, you've gone through these off-platform items, as in financial needs analysis, record of advice. Client says, yes, I'm happy. You're going to go and submit that instruction. And then our web, in our quote journey and in our new business journey, it's going to walk you through all that process step by step. And then lastly, we know that clients are always keen to receive information. They want to be able to see, please show me where we are in the journey. Please help me find out where we are. And that's something that's important. And I will talk you through the communication that your client will receive and just give you a sense of what it is that they would receive. Okay, so just to reconfirm, no need to recapture information at any point. Your business rules and legislation are built into the web. And then lastly, no signatures and paperwork. And I'm going to show you what that looks like. So hopefully that's given you enough context to talk through. What I would like to do is I would like to log in and show you what the web looks like because that's important. So if I click on login, I think the first thing you're going to see is the page looks a little bit empty. And that's actually one of our design principles. We've designed the principle that we don't want it to feel as though it's an overly cluttered or a really difficult process to build. So you'll see from the time we log in all the way through the journeys, we've tried to make this web as easy and as effective and as easy as possible for you. When I click login, when we land on the login page, you can automatically see that same kind of feeling is it's not overly cluttered. It's not lots of different tiles and things. If I just contrast that back over to something like your favorite news site, where you go and produce things like going to catch up on news, you typically have banners on the side. There's a banner right on top. There's normally a bar that scrolls that says these are either your updated local currency values, your updated prices. Let's see what the Aussie is doing. Maybe it's the latest articles over the last 24 hours. That's very different to INN8. INN8 looks relatively simple, and if you look on our screen, we've basically built some quick links to the web. On the left, we've got a static menu. On the top, if you click on this home button, it will collapse the menu or expand the menu. And this menu is always available, irrespective of the screen that you are in. On the home page, you've got top up. You can add to an investment, create a quote, process a new instruction. You can go and track your instructions. You can then create a new client. All of our journeys are always going to start at create a client. And then you also have my business. This is where we can track all the business activities, like your reports, which we will go through, tracking instructions. We will also go through, and a really nice view, a calendar view for you as well. I am going to start at new client. New client, I'm going to skip prospect for a second. We have new individual. That's like you and I. Warm body, new individual. If I click on new individual, you can see it's starting to ask for quite a few pieces of static information. New company. So new company, you can select the entity type as well. So if you are doing something like, I don't know, joint venture, as you can see, you can simply type joint venture. If it's a social club, you simply type social club or stokvel. And this entity type will tell us which supporting documents we would need from you when you process that instruction. New trust, and that's trust as we all know it. Under prospect, this is a nice one. So when we spoke to advisors, they basically said there are scenarios where I meet a client and I don't have all the personal information. I don't have an ID number, I don't have a tax number or bank information. Please, can you help me go through this journey with and help me produce a quote? And that's how we built Prospect. Prospect, you can almost think of it as a lead. You meet someone at an event, they give you a business card. I know these days there's no business cards, you're scanning a QR code. Whether you scan the QR code or receive a business card, that's all the information that you'd need to go and produce a quote. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go and produce a quote for you now. I hope you don't mind. I know, just a reminder, there's a Q&A available. I know that Sumaya is answering some of the questions in the Q&A. I hope you don't mind, Andre. I'm going to use your name over here. So I'm going to create you, Andre. Okay, just for the audience, I don't know Andre personally, so I'm just going to make up any details. Um, I'm going to add a mobile number, something that was already captured. Email address, just to confirm, this is not Andre's email address if you are wondering. I'm just creating a dummy email address. First name at surname.com. Click on save. What we've now done is we've created a prospect, and you can see we only need 4 pieces of information to create that prospect. We need a name, an estimated age, a mobile number, and an email address. It now says, thank you. We are ready to create that prospect. And on the top right, you can see we've got create a quick quote. I'm now going to create a quote. Just to reconfirm, this contact for Andre is now stored on the web that you will not need to create again. So any prospect you save or any client that you create will always be stored for you. No need to recapture. When I click on create quote, what this now does is it says, I'm identifying the prospect is a warm body, it's an individual. And that filters all the way down to this product. So the product that's available is only the product that's applicable to individuals. If I created an entity, it wouldn't give you the option of RA, preserver, living annuity, tax-free as an example. It will reduce the list to the client type available. Why I make that comment is I don't know in the past if you or anyone in your office submitted an application, it was the incorrect application, and you'd have to go back to client saying, sorry, I completed the incorrect information or incorrect application. Please re-sign this document. That's not going to happen with INN8. So I'm going to choose a product called RA. The purpose of investment, so Andre is saving for estate planning. And something nice to mention is every time you click on this continue button, we are automatically also going to save this journey for you. So I've clicked on continue. Let's say I need to I'm called into, I've got a 9:30 meeting. I can't go back to this quote. Let's say the page logs you out. I'm just going to click on home to click away. How you find this information is you can either search for the client on the bottom left under search, or on top, you can simply add the surname. So I've chosen to capture Andre. I click on view prospect, and what you'll see is automatically, without me saving this quote, it's automatically saved and created today as the 1st of October. When I click on resume, it will resume to the last saved step. So you're not going to need to recapture information at any time. I'm going to click on continue. And that principle that I mentioned is we want the web to feel easy. I know if you look at this top line, we call it the Jubilee line. It essentially says that you are in step 2 of the journey. You can't go ahead and click on how your client is going to pay before you complete the contribution type. The reason you cannot do that is one of the things that we are really strict about within INN8 is we don't want you to complete information that you don't need to complete. If you think of a static application form, it will always have 10, 12, 15 pages. It's always going to have those number of pages. And if a debit order or a transfer is not applicable, you simply scratch a line through that and you say not applicable. That's not going to happen with INN8. If I say lump sum investment and I click on continue, you can see within a split second, it's built the next screen saying how are you going to contribute? If I quickly go back and I now add an external transfer and I click on continue, you can see in a split second, we've rebuilt that screen. That's some of the real power of a digital proposition is we want it to feel really quickly for you. If I add a transfer now, so for those that are close to the section 14 transfers, I'm going to say Andre is investing 10 million. It's coming from, let's say, a pension preservation fund. I add, nice and easy. I, as the advisor, then realize, hold on, it's not a preservation fund, it's an RA. So I go back, before I go back, you can see this is giving me the option to add a fee. Let's say I quickly add a fee. Point 2 ongoing, point 1 initial. And at this point, you realize, hold on, it's RA to RA section 14. I click on edit, I change the product to RA. And once you click on update, we're automatically going to tell you, hold on, this transaction does not allow an initial fee. You cannot charge an initial fee, and we won't let you add an initial fee. That's some of the benefits. I'm just going to go back to the move transfer. That's some of the benefits of a digital proposition is that if you think of the downstream implication, your FNA would have a fee on it. Your quote may, in the old way, have a fee on it. You also could have your record of advice having a fee, and then you'd have to go back to your client and say, "Oh, sorry, I need to remove the fee." That's not going to happen at INN8. We've built all those business rules in there for you. I'm just going to re-enter the ongoing and initial fee, same value, 10 million rand value. I'm going to click on continue. This is where you have the option of choosing a model portfolio or multiple model portfolios. If, for example, the DFM doesn't have a really a clear descriptive of the model, so what we try to do is add some different versions. So you can see this is a low risk conservative model, or if something just says Fund World Works model, and you're not sure which funds are in there, you can simply click on this drop down and it'll tell you the fund or funds that are allocated to the model. We've also built our internal business rules into it. So if your DFM says this model portfolio is not available to clients, it'll have a status that says not available to client. It won't let you add that model. Alternatively, if you cannot add the model portfolio and you're wondering why, because the status says, hold on, this is open to clients, you can simply click on the drop down and here you'd be able to see the underlying fund status. So in this case, you can see these two funds is closed to new business or closed to all clients. And typically that means the DFM is still going to rebalance the model portfolio at some point. You then have the option of all of the funds. And just to reconfirm, if you're sitting across different networks, we call this an asset universe. Your asset universe will be applicable to you, to your fund or your class that you are able to sell as well. So we've got a really flexible system in the back end that allows you to go through that journey. Or we have an internal provider. It's also a DFM that does research for us called INN8 and they essentially have an investment committee. They assess funds across our entire platform. They have a look at funds that is on a you could almost think of it as a preferred buyers list internally. And this tells you the fund, it'll reduce the all fund range to a subset of funds. If you choose a fund, you also have a shortcut to the fact sheet. You have a shortcut to the MDD, the minimum disclosure document, or the core fund report where applicable. What I'm going to quickly do in the interest of time, I'm going to add two funds, a balanced and an equity fund. And because I'm in an RA investment, naturally the first thing that people think about is Reg 28. So I'm going to click on equal weighting. You can see we've opened up the Reg 28 button. But if I just skip the section for a second and I try to click on continue, what we're going to do in as quickly as you can see, we're producing a real-time validation whether this portfolio is regulation 28 compliant or not. So here you can see we're saying this account has more equity exposure. You need to reduce the equity exposure. And in this case, it's going to be maybe a little bit of a harsh term. It's a hard block on the web. It's not going to let you progress at all because we don't want you to submit an instruction and then have to go back to your internal compliance team saying, hold on, we need a new fund allocation. My client needs to sign something. That's not going to happen. We are automatically going to force you to do the Regulation 28 compliance. I'm going to correct the compliance in a second, but I quickly want to chat through this bottom section. We call it a preferred asset nomination. As part of the innate proposition, we launched something really fundamental to our platform, and it's kind of a first in South Africa. It's called a cash account. Some people call it a product cash account. Some people say PCA. Some just say cash. All means the same thing when you speak to someone at INN8. And what this cash account does is you can see I've selected two assets, a balanced and an equity fund. I initially selected 50% into each, but you can see we've automatically withheld 2% back in this cash. This cash account operates very similarly to the way a money market fund does. It accrues interest daily. The interest rate linked to this cash account is repo, the repo rate in South Africa, less 0.75%. So repo less 75 bips. And it will accrue interest daily. Interest will also be added monthly. And you've got the flexibility of moving interest or income. It shouldn't actually just, I should call it income, because your other funds could have a full income distribution in the form of interest and dividends. That income can be redirected into this cash account as well. And why I mention that is because we manage this balance at 2% as a default currently. That 2%, if it drops down to less than 1.5%, we are going to automatically top it back up to 2%. So just to reconfirm, cash is default to 2%. If it goes below 1.5%, it will automatically top up to 2%. Naturally, your question is, where are you going to top up this from? Is it proportional or not? You have that choice. If you'd like to, one, redirect your income from other funds into this cash account, you are welcome to do that. Alternatively, you can select yes for what we call a preferred asset nomination. Let's say you have an income fund that you'd like to target for a few things. First thing is the facilitation of payment for a regular withdrawal or annuity income. That can be used from this preferred asset nomination. You want to pay for any fees, your platform fees, DFM fee if in a model, your advice fee can be paid from one specific fund. And you can also target this fund to top up your cash account from a specific fund or multiple funds. That's what this yes or no means. I'm going to go no for the interim. I'm going to delete the equity fund to make this compliant and then click on continue. What this now says is, what is the estimated retirement age for Andre? And I'm going to make it 55. When I click on continue, it says, thank you, you've now successfully created the quote. It then also gives you a playback or a summary of what's happened over here. You've got this option to generate an investment proposal. And the investment proposal is essentially, as we try to label it here, it is a proposal for an investment that you are going to show to your client. I know some people refer to this as a quote. If in your practice you need to sign a document or have your client sign a quote, this is the document that you are going to get your client to sign. If you also, if your client is a little bit more or maybe a lot more technical, and they want to see things like a Morningstar X-ray, you can see on the bottom left, we've got the option to include the Morningstar X-ray. You would simply have clicked in this little box. It will ask you to choose a benchmark, and that benchmark can be any benchmark that you typically have in South Africa. And those could be whether it's a CPI rate, inflation rate, if it's an ALSI, like an all share index benchmark, an all bond index benchmark. I don't know if you're familiar in the South African fund range, you've got these ASISA categories. So if you, for example, in a medium risk category, it could be medium risk category, and in this case, it could be like a domestic high equity benchmark. Whichever the scenario, you can choose your respective benchmark for the Morningstar X-ray. In this, you can see we now have for Andre, we've created a proposal. If there are different contribution types and different um, withdrawal types, like a regular withdrawal or an annuity income, on the top right, we'll just keep on adding blocks for the different features that's particular for money in, as in lump sum debit order, or money out, regular withdrawal, annuity income. We then have a playback of the assets, so local, foreign. We also have a detailed playdown of the underlying asset allocation. We show a disclosure on fees with a TIC, a total investment charge, that's made up of the TC, transaction cost, and the TER. You've got a playback of fees, so initial ongoing advice fees. We have the platform fee, and here, just to confirm, almost identical structure to the Stanlib Lisp, which is where you have the three-tiered scale, starts at 2 million, the next 2 million at form at so if I just go down to the scale, first 2 million at 0.55 including VAT, the second 2 million at 0.23 including VAT, above 4 million, 0.11 including VAT. In this case, I've done a 10 million rand investment. So I'm going to show you what it looks like as a cost for it. It should be around the 18.18.19% mark, if the math is correct. And then we also have this fee. It's a minimum fee. And it's essentially if the balance across all your client accounts are less than 50,000. So total accounts value less than 50,000, there's a minimum fee of 276 Rand a year. So not a month, 276 a year. It's around 23 Rand a month for a digital investment platform. You could almost think of it as a half a cup of coffee that you are giving up for platform fees for balances below 50,000 Rand. Just want to reconfirm, we do what we call client aggregation. So we look at all the client accounts, we aggregate all the values, as in we keep on adding all those values, and then we calculate the fee. Let's say you are investing, let's say this investment is for Andre's child, and it's a 36,000 Rand tax-free investment. And also there's already a 2 million Rand or 100,000 Rand investment account. We are not going to charge the minimum fee because the aggregated value is more than 50,000. For those that are managing families, we've got a set criteria on family aggregation or family linking, where we can link multiple accounts to each other. And here you can see, if I just go slightly larger, for a 10 million Rand investment, the fees math is slightly off at 0.22% as the administration fee. If I go down, this is just important information that's linked at an account level. In the interest of time, not going to spend too much information there. Going back to the top of this document. At the end, what typically is going to happen is Robin is Andre's advisor. Robin says, Andre, here is the quote. Can we go ahead? Can we process this investment? Andre says, yes, I'm happy. Let's go ahead and let's progress with this investment. So what you could do is typically that's not happening in the same interaction. So I'm going to go back out again. I'm going to go and search for Andre under surname. I can now see that this is the prospect. If I click on it, the web automatically remembered I was at the end of the journey. I now click on convert to new business. And it now says, hold on, we now need some more information for Andre because we need to go through things like a risk rating. We need to capture some more static information. So I'm going to add that. So what I've done is I copied an ID number previously. What did I make you? 35, Andre. So in this case, I'm going to go, Mr. Just going to quickly run through information. I'm going to make you married. I'm going to keep you as a professional. Let's put you in construction. Your source of income, I'm going to say your primary source is your salary. I click on continue. And we've got these little ticks on top. Where you see a tick, you can see it says, I'm happy. You've completed all the information. Where there's an asterisk, it says, hold on, there are information that's missing, as you can see over here. So I'm just going to add some test information to make you live in Cape Town. It's a biased view on the best city in South Africa. So I'll put you in Cape Town. Bank account, I'm going to quickly reference here. If you want to add a bank account, let's say I add, this is just to reconfirm, not the correct information. I don't know who you bank with, Andre, but if I choose, let's say, Absa Bank, what we've done is, and in the innate proposition, we do not need you to submit a proof of bank account. The reason we don't need you to submit proof of bank account is we'll do a real-time validation for you to say, does this bank account exist? When you process or when you add a bank account, it's going to also tell you in your version why that bank account does not exist. It will say the account number is incorrect, the account type is incorrect. It'll give you a few different reasons on why it's not a correct bank account. So that's what you will see as part of your web. If there's a bank account that does not have, if there's a bank account or bank provider that does not have this service, we call it a real-time service. This will then go to our backend provider, sorry, our operations team, who will go and validate those bank accounts for you. So here you can see it saying this bank account is invalid. So we're not going to let you add an invalid bank account, meaning let's say there won't be any failed debits because the bank account information is not correct. I'm going to quickly add a bank account where we don't need that real-time validation. Sure, it's not a surprise. The post office does not offer that service. When you add a bank account, your client will also log in and they need to see that bank account. I'm going to quickly say the tax information, client A is a citizen. Are they reportable in the US? Are they registered for tax in SA? Registered for tax in the US or any other country other than South Africa or the US. We're going to add some tax information. I'm going to make it primary tax. You can just add another tax if they are secondary tax. Then withholding rates on taxes, being interest withholding tax, dividend withholding tax. Once I click on continue, it'll say I'm happy. If this was a minor, it'll force you to go into one more screen that we call the relationship tab, and that will ask you to complete the information for the parent or legal guardian for this investment as well. So you can see over here, I'm not going to go through the entire journey just to show you how we've built the web. I'm just conscious of time. You can see we've automatically remembered. Oops, let me just quickly see if I can jump back out here. Um, so what we'll do in the new business journey is it will automatically remember all the information that was captured before. So if I just want to quickly log out and log in. So I'm in a demo environment. So just want to quickly refresh that environment. Okay, and my password again. Okay, what I'm going to do, same scenario. Maybe this is a nice way to show you as well. And something that we're picking up for advisors as well is when they log in. So if I go and search for Andre now, what you'll see is this changed a little bit. So change from view prospect to view client summary. So now if I go view client summary, if I go down, this is where you will find all the previous quotes and new business that's submitted. So if I went into new business as an example, and I wanted to see open new business, or I wanted to see the open quotes, you can see over here, it's got a status as draft, and you can simply click on resume. So when I resume, what it's going to do is it's going to remember all the steps in the journey that we had in the quote. That same principle is I don't want, or as a business, we don't want you to recapture information at any point. You can see it's remembered all the information. If there are multiple advisors, you can do a fee split on the account. If I just quickly continue, I want to go through because I want to make a few minutes available to answer some questions at the end. I'm going to click on submit, continue. Over here, it's now saying, because you're in a new business journey, if there's any beneficiary information or dependent information, I click on continue because it's not mandatory. Who is going to pay? A third party would pay. The third party will also have a digital journey, or the investor. And then that can either be paid via direct debit or EFT. Where the money is coming from, this 10 million for Andre is coming from bonus. This is a really important step it's the second last step that I want to stop on before we talk about the instructions. This you can think of as your last step in the journey where you confirm, is all the information correct? As in, are the personal information correct? Is the transaction information correct? And then you can see it's got the option to generate a proposal, which is this document over here. But a few people have asked, and when we launched the proposition initially, it was a question of, can you give me an access to a pre-populated form because we want client to sign something. What we'd seen in the past is advisors would go Control and P to print. They then try to print this page, and this is what it looks like if you were trying to print it. Doesn't look very, very visually appealing. So we built this document at the bottom called a summary document. So if I click on download summary, you can add some comments. I'm just going to say this is a test. What are we today? 01, 10, 25. And when you click on continue, it is going to automatically download a document for you. And this document, essentially, I'm going to show you what it looks like, is what looks like this. And if I go down just a little bit, you could think of it as a pre-populated application form. If you need a client to sign it, this is the document that you would be signing. So this way you can see what it looks like. You get a sense of all the transactions. And here's that note that I'd left a little bit earlier, if you'd like to leave a note. Before I chat through this, I would like to talk through this declaration. Nothing that should concern you in the declaration. It says you've been appointed as the advisor. You have the relevant category 1 or category 2 license. You've undergone accreditation to provide the advice. You've explained the material features of and fees, etc., of the investment. Your client has given you the consent to submit the instruction. If it's a third party, they've also given authority to transact on their behalf, and they've given consent to pay on behalf of the investor. Copy disclosure, which I'm sure you would see everywhere. You've gone through a process to FICA your clients, getting a copy of ID, etc. And then we can request to see the evidence of the instruction. We can suspend the transaction if we aren't happy and update our terms and conditions at any point. Simply when you click on I agree, what we do as a platform is we will show you access we will basically merge all the information and send confirmation to your client. I quickly want to open up the presentation as well, just to show you what it is that your client is going to receive. So if I just go back over here, your client essentially is going to receive an email, and that email is going to say, please activate my account. This button over here, if I quickly add the pointer back in, they simply click on this section over here that says activate my account. Once you click on activate, they need to go and create username and password. When they create a username and password, this will give them, it will take them through 3 declarations. One says, please accept the terms and conditions. We can attach a document to show you what that evidence looks like. They would then also get access to approving that they understand that we will transact on or submit instructions to a provider on their behalf, as every other management company or platform does. And then we will also, they approve their bank account and approve the tax information that's been captured as well. Okay, I know it was a whirlwind of how we went through this transaction. I just want to quickly double check. I know I want to leave a little bit of time to answer some questions because I know there's a few unanswered questions. So I'm going to quickly stop sharing and then answer some of the questions that come through. And maybe at the same time, thank you, Samaya. I know you've been busy in the back answering some of the questions. I know you don't mind taking some of the questions as well. Um, Maybe, Samaya, I'll thank you for the questions coming up. There's a question directly for you, Samaya. Hi, Samaya. When do we get access to INN8? So yeah, I don't know if you want to take that or if you'd like me to take the question.
I'll take it. I do want to maybe ask for you to please chat about PCA again. There are 2
Sure.
questions where people would like further explanation, if that's cool.
Yes.
For the question from Mpilo, thank you so much for the question. It depends on which channel you're from. So we do have an accreditation process or a course that you might need to complete if you're through our Liberty channel. But once that's completed and our onboarding team receives any relevant documentation, then they will send you logins as well so that you can access the Innate website. But again, you will receive feedback as well. The first bit is that accreditation if you are coming through our Liberty channel. But please, if I did drop my contact details earlier on the chat as well. If you have further questions about it, I'm happy to help.
Thank you. Okay, there is a question around PCA. So just to confirm, it just dropped off my screen a second. Okay, so first is please explain the 2% cash again. And then I'm struggling to understand the bottom line of PCA, and we'll take both of those now quickly. So PCA, you could almost think of it as the Grand Central Station. If you took a train anywhere in Europe, you normally have one station that links you to different things. PCA is like that. It's the Grand Central Station of transactions. All transactions flow through PCA and out of PCA as well. What you have access to inside PCA is you've got access to really key technology under there. So PCA basically sits almost outside of the product, and it's like liquid cash available in an investment. The reason it's liquid cash is you don't have to worry about if you think of a platform that has a trading calendar. You can't process a switch because an annuity income run is happening. You you can't process a DFM rebalance because fees are being run. That doesn't happen at INN8. Where there's available cash in your account, we will automatically trade out of that cash account first. It's managed at the level of 2%, and if it drops below 1.5%, we'll rebalance back to 2%. Maybe I'll share some information. At the end of the year, we're targeting where you have the option to reduce the PCA balance or to increase it because advisors are finding lots of benefit in PCA. I'll make one small example. PCA does not trade as a normal money market fund does. You could think of it as a bank account. We had an advisor a couple of months ago that forgot to pay university fees. The university would not allow his child to write exams and wanted to pay money. This landed up on our side on Friday evening or Friday afternoon after our cutoff. What the advisor asked is, please process an early payment for me. What we then done is we noticed that there was enough money in PCA. This is just before 2 o'clock the Friday. Advisor submitted the instruction at 2 on Friday. We traded on that same Friday. We paid the client on that same day, and money would have been the following day available in client's bank account. In any other provider, what would have happened is that transaction would have only traded the next Monday and the Friday thereafter money in bank account. That's your benefit with PCA. We're seeing a lots of advisors saying, I love the component, some not so much. And that's completely understandable. And that's the reason we've built the difference between going down to zero or going up aggressively if you'd like to go up as well. In the platform world, it's almost unheard of to have transactions paid on the same day. That doesn't happen. That's some of the massive benefit you're sitting in PCA. Quickly one, I know we're running out of time. Erard, you asked a question. You noticed that the Liberty MP1 range didn't pull through. You don't have to worry. Are you saying, is this for your live environment? I don't know if it is, Erard. If this is, you already have access to INN8 and you're not seeing the model portfolios pull through, 100%. Please send an email to hello@INN8 and we'll have a look that it's linked correctly. It's just our case where we need to make sure that that the relationship is linked there. So no problem at all. And I see you are typing a response. Leanne, thank you for your question. Can you please show me what the client receives once the application goes through? Let me quickly reshare my screen in the dying seconds. I can show you what it looks like. What I can also do, Leanne, is if you send us a mail, just make it for my attention. I can send this document to you. And what this looks like is, first, your client will receive an email to ask them to activate the account. They will then create a username and a password. Once they create a username and password, they would go into accepting the declaration as a platform. They accept the declaration to confirm that they operate with an advisor and INN8 as a platform. This is the bank account. They need to physically click to say the bank account is correct and click to say my tax details are correct. Once they do that, that's all that the client to do. That's also only a once-off instruction. So they won't have to do that multiple times. I'm going to take one quick question just to confirm. If there are any questions unanswered, we'll make sure that we at least give you we answer your questions via email. I mean, I'm going top down. Jacques asked, hi, is the Morningstar system still available with INN8 to use for fund assessment or comparison, 100% it is Jacques. In one of the master classes, we're going to do a little bit of a drill down into what Morningstar is, all the options, your comparisons, the portfolio compare, investment screener, and Morningstar X-ray are all available to you via the net web. It's also available to you, or if an assistant, if you have a paraplanner, it's available to everyone as well. I just want to quickly then say, I know we've run out of time. Want to say thank you to everyone that's made some time to join us. The unanswered questions, we'll definitely come back to you with some answers. Sumaya, thank you for answering the questions in the back end. We've got our marketing team that's helped get this webinar and sending communication out to everyone. Thank you to our marketing team. Thank you, Sumaya. And thank you to you for spending this hour with us. It was a jam-packed hour. Please look out for Masterclass number 2 coming up. There's a lot more content that we're going to go through. We don't have to go through slides because you've gone through the slides already. So going forward, we'll help you manage things effectively at INN8. Thank you so much. It's midweek. Have a nice Wednesday and a nice end to the week as well. We'll see you at the next Masterclass.
INN8 is a registered trademark of Stanlib Wealth Management Pty Limited, an authorised financial services provider.